Just a few updates. On your tables, you're going to see these 3 papers. These 3 are very, very important. The very first one it's got all these little circles on it. This is the 15 TIF districts that John Cranley's trying to ramrod through City Council really fast. I'm trying to make all these 15 districts sign off on this fast. We see it, as John Cranley said, in his ducks in a row for when he's no longer mayor, because he is a developer and he wants to be able to do this. So this is basically the information on the process of TIF and these tax increment financing. The second one is how TIF is a tax hike. These TIFs take money. So in other words, say for instance, you have a house that's $100,000. And X number of dollars goes to the zoo and to whatever, all the different levies that are out there. Your house may appreciate, may double in value. But for 30 years, it stays at that very same assessment. For 30 years, no money to the zoo. It's the schools that are going to be really in deep trouble. If you would really look carefully, it shows you where all the monies go up in this corner. All the different places our tax levies go. If there's not enough money, then these people have to keep going back to the voters again and again and again for increased tax levies. It is serious. So we need to pay attention to that. So we received a call from a gentleman from Chicago. Chicago is very much aware of these TIF districts. It has actually caused all kinds of problems in Chicago. And any place they've done this wild-scale TIF stuff, there have been problems. So he reached out to us. He, on his own dime, is coming to Cincinnati on Sunday. He's going to be at the Mayor's Academy, which is the central office of the Cincinnati Public Schools. And he's going to be presenting about all the findings about TIF districts across the country and how they hurt rather than help. We also are going to have a gentleman from Cincinnati that has really looked at all the data, and he's going to give very specific numbers as to how this is going to impact Cincinnati. So I really welcome all of you to come to this. 15 TIF districts, that's a lot of places around Cincinnati. That developers will basically get benefit after benefit after benefit after benefit, and we the people don't get any benefits. But here's the other thing. Let me see, I just lost my train of thought here. I lost my train of thought. So this Sunday, it's really important to go keep yourself informed so that you know what's going on.
At the Mayerson?
At the Mayerson Academy. 6 till 8. The Mayerson Academy is probably in the Rosa Blackwell Interactive Center. Last week, we also passed these out, these sheets about the 17th. On the 17th, we're going to be collecting gifts for refugee children through the Catholic services and Catholic charities. This was a recommendation of the things that these kids need. I would like to remind you, these are refugee children. The majority of these children are SLIFE children, which, if you don't know that term, is that these are children who have had no formal education in their country. They may have been in camps, whatever. So therefore, their reading level, even if it's a 14-year-old, might be at kindergarten level. So, whatever gifts you give, these are suggestions about every day-to-day things that they need. If you're going to bring books, make sure they're kindergarten to first grade reading level. I've got a friend over at Joseph Beth who's trying to find some books that may be interest-grabbing for a 12 or 13-year-old that would be at the appropriate reading level so they can start reading. So make sure that when you're thinking of gifts to bring, you bring something that these kids are going to need. Okay? Remember, they are refugees that are placed in Cincinnati through Catholic charities. We have a list of these over at the table, so if you want to grab them, they're there. Do we have any other announcements? Okay, I'm going back
You
here.
go first.
Okay, this is about lunches.
Here you go.
All right, is Penny Ann here?
No, she's not here.
Okay, so this is the third week in a row that people have signed up for lunch and not come. And so that means one of us is out $10. So if you sign up for lunch, even if you don't come, you have to pay for it the next week if you come back. Or if anybody wants to buy Penny Ann's lunch, it's a veggie sandwich. And you want it? Okay. All right. Great. So yes, you got water. Okay. So next week we're going to have vegetarian chili, and Sister Judy, they're going to bring in a crock pot. So I'll be sending, and I don't know what I'll go with it, but you know it'll be good. And besides, we want to support Venice on Vine. Probably salad and maybe half a sandwich, but I don't want to promise that. So vegetarian chili for next week. All right. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Two things. Thursday, 11:30 to 12:30, in front of P&G, they're doing a Save the Reindeer because the caribou forests are being decimated in Canada by P&G making Charmin. So if you want to just show up for kind of a quick protest, be great. Thursday, the 5th, 11:30 to 12:30 at the P&G headquarters. The other is I'm wearing this funny hat because I'm wanting to be a delegate at the National Convention with Richard Asmus. We're both doing it. The important thing is we need to generate between 100 and 120 people who will come vote for us. And we have to do it ahead of time because you may get a 1-minute speech that you can put in. So it's sort of like you have to come engrossed with all your friends, family, and maybe even some of your enemies. And the other thing is I know there are a number of people who would come to vote for me, but they're in District 2. But I'm working on a deal with Barbara Myers, who's the president of the Cincinnati Women's Political Caucus, who's planning to run in District 2, so that if my friends will vote for her, maybe her friends from District 1 will come and vote for me. So that's sort of the deal. But I have some pass-out sheets. I don't want to take up the time, but it's got the who, what, where, when, and why. And I can also give one to Peter, and I can send it to him electronically, and he can send it out in the newsletter. But I also have some clipboards for those people who are more confident about voting on January 7th. If you'll sign up so we can keep track of how many. We've got 34 people so far who've signed up. And we appreciate your support. And I'll take questions like 5 minutes or less.
Just real quickly, is that voting going to take place here in Cincinnati?
It's the District 1 is at the Winton Hills Intermediate School.
Woods.
Winton Woods Intermediate School.
On Waycross.
On Waycross, and it's on the little who, what, where, when. For District 2, it's at Anderson High School. So at least it's close for the people here. It's January 7th, the doors open at 6, the caucuses start at 7, but they say all the fun and action happens between 6 and 7. I've been told. Never been before, so.
I live in District 2. So would I go to this District 2 location to vote for you?
No.
How would you switch the votes?
You have to vote for Barbara Myers,
Okay.
and then her friends in District 1 will vote for me. But anyway, I will pass around a clipboard, but you can't vote directly for me.
Sounds like quid pro quo.
It is absolutely quid pro quo, and if I had the money, I could pay all of you $1 to come. And it's not illegal. That's what I was told.
I want to make sure that we know what District 1 means. That's the same district that voted for AFTAB, right?
Yes, it's the Shabbat, it's the
The Shabbat,
Shabbat District 1, and Winstrip is District 2.
Shabbat.
So does anybody want the who, what, where, when, and how?
Yeah.
Okay, another thing about Court Watch, I called the person in charge, and it's actually MARCC, something about
Mark.
churches.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, they are going to have a training in December, but the date hasn't been set yet. And then the actual Court Watch, when we go down, will be in January. So, they have my telephone number 3 times in my email, so they're gonna tell me when it is, and then I'll come and tell everybody when the training is.
I have, Susan, did you mention the gathering you're having on the 18th?
Oh, no, I forgot.
I didn't forget.
It's the 16th.
15th.
Ann Froelich is one of the co-hosts, I don't think anybody else is here, that we're having a holiday event, meet Sharman McGuffey, and hopefully you can contribute and support her candidacy. And it's 5:30 to 7 at my house, and it'll be in the newsletter. That's Monday, the 16th, 5:30 to 7.
3901 Clifton Avenue. Right. Right off Buckingham. Okay, I'm Alberta, and I have, you know, I didn't coordinate this carefully with Katie, but I'm still thinking that some of these kids might want some stuff about Harry Potter. So I have some toys here for Harry Potter, and even though I know that I was at a high school where we had the kids who'd never had anything before, and I'm still going to recommend. Now, I'm bringing my old copies of Harry Potter books because I think people might be willing to read to them, or they still might want to be part of our culture. Because let me tell you, with kids, it's still a big thing. So I'm going to bring all of my copies of Harry Potter. Yes.
Are Spanish language books needed or not? Because I have some.
I would imagine. Listen, that we have refugees from all places.
Okay, so I got Harry Potter in Spanish.
Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Other announcements. Other announcements. In the back, we have a wonderful person who used to be my representative from my district. Her name is Alicia Reese. And she is now running for one of the seats that's going to be opening up for County Commissioner. I want to get it right. County Commissioner. Hamilton County, Hamilton. Yeah. And it's a big deal. And I was very well represented by Alicia Reese before, and I hope she will represent me again. So here you go. Come on up. Tell us all about yourself.
Thank you so much for that introduction and all of your support. Many of you in the room here have supported me over the years. I want you to remember 2 dates, 1999 and 2019. 1999 and 2019. 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, I came in this room, spoke to a group of Democrats. I was a lot younger and had a little more energy probably, and a lot more green. And I spoke to a group of Democrats saying that I was running for Cincinnati City Council. And so in 1999, many of you were gracious toward me, but when we left out of this room, we went to work and we worked hard. and we were able to win for Cincinnati City Council. At that time, I was the youngest, I'm still the youngest ever elected in the history. What was important is because that was a time when our city was faced with young people, many of whom had graduated high school with me. I'm a proud Cincinnati Public School graduate. I graduated from Withrow High School International Studies Academy. Spanish is my second language, so when you talk about Harry Potter in Spanish, I got excited. But 10 years after graduating from there, I became Cincinnati City Council person. And we changed the attitude and we changed politics in Cincinnati. Young people began to say, hey, we can have a place here. We can have a seat at the table. We don't have to leave and never come back. We don't have to take our talents other places. And that was my goal. And then after me came David Pepper and John Cranley and so many young people that are running today and are in leadership positions. So I went on to become the vice mayor of Cincinnati. Went on after that and was appointed by the governor, Ted Strickland, our last Democratic governor so far. Ted Strickland appointed me because my background is in advertising, marketing, and promotions. And at a tough time in Cincinnati, when everybody was canceling and walking away from the city, I said, no way. We're going to rebuild our image. And I came up with Cincinnati on the Move and tourism, and we've got all kind of conventions and help expand the convention center, etc. And so I was recruited to go to Columbus and help now not just market Cincinnati, but how can we market the entire state of Ohio? So I became the deputy tourism director for the state of Ohio under the Democratic governor, Ted Strickland, reporting directly to the governor and the lieutenant governor, Lee Fisher. And so I put together the marketing plan and the branding and helped put together a tourism campaign that had the largest return on investment, over $100 million of investment coming back to our state. And I got a chance to go to rural Ohio and urban Ohio, and I had a chance to deal with different types of people all across the state and market one Ohio. And so after that, my mother, who had breast cancer and multiple sclerosis, her health was declining. So I was running back and forth from I-71 back home, back and forth, not knowing that God was preparing me to that would be my journey one day. Because before that I couldn't drive to Dayton, Ohio without getting sleepy. So I was driving back and forth. My mom's health was going down. Unfortunately, my mother did pass away from breast cancer. And then Tyrone Yates, who is now our judge, Tyrone Yates, had said, hey, I'm getting ready to turn out. You would be great at being a state representative and representing the 33rd district. And so I said, wow, something where I can still connect in Columbus, but represent down here. And so I ended up being a state representative. I was elected for 4 terms. 4 terms. So I've won 7 elections in my 20-year history. And so I went on and became a state representative. After doing that, I went on to be elected statewide president of the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus, but always bringing resources back here. And some of the negotiations. So then we had a Republican governor, and you guys probably remember him, John Kasich. And I'm in a super minority. Hard to get anything done. And I think we had like 30 Democrats out of 99. And so out of that, though, I was able to work across party lines. I was able to negotiate the casino deal. Remember, they stopped the casino. And he said I wasn't going to do the casinos, it's over. We had a big hole downtown. I went in and met with the governor. He didn't meet with anyone, Democrat or Republican. He took my meeting. And so I explained to him how we had come together as a county. And this had to work. And we had civil rights groups, labor, the chamber. This had to work. This is the first time we were together since we had the unrest. He said, nobody's explained it like that. And so in 3 days after my meeting, the casino deals was back up and going, not only in Hamilton County, but throughout the state. And then I went on to be able to work across party lines on transportation. And yes, I fought hard to get more money for public transportation, and it didn't quite go as I wanted because we were in the minority. We did get more money than we used to have, but not what we should have. But one of the projects was the Martin Luther King Highway exit. And so the governor needed me to help him in Cleveland, and I told him I need something back home. And he said, what do you have? I said, the Martin Luther King Highway exit. And it's something that we all had agreed on, but could never get the state to ever fund it. And it was on a fast track called 35 years from now. They said that's the fast track for a department. I learned that a Department of Transportation director comes in and says, yes, it's on the fast track. I said, great, when? They says 35 years from now. I said, oh, that won't work. So anyway, we got it done in less than 7 years, and now it has created a new innovation corridor connecting the hospitals, the university. Jobs are coming in, a new CDC facility that's going to come in, bringing new jobs, an innovation hub. It's the only new highway exit in the entire state. And I'm just so proud to have been a part of helping to negotiate it and move it forward. So now I have turned out for state representative and returned home, and when I got the news that my good friend, good family friend, Todd Bertune had said he will not be able to run again, I said, wow, we've got to make sure that the Republicans know that there will be resistance. There will be a tough candidate that will stand up. We will not give that seat up. And so I got over 20 calls, one of them from Miss Bernadette Watts, has been knowing me for years. 20 calls from people diverse people that said, you've got to run. You've got to do this. And so I picked up petitions, and I, right now, am the only candidate that is on the ballot. I have filed. We had a kickoff with over 100, and I thought, I was happy. I said, man, if I can get, 10 people to stand with me, I'll be happy when we announce. But we had 100 people showed up, diverse people throughout Hamilton County that stood with me as we said, I'm running for Hamilton County Commission. And so since that time, we've got our kickoff and all those kind of things. But I want to highlight something, that 20 years of experience and preparation, 1999 to 2019, this is a big year. I can't believe it's been 20 years of city experience, vice mayor, city council, of state experience. The money that you get for county comes from the state. Being on the finance committee all 8 years, understand how that works. Understanding how to have relationships, because you got to have relationships. The Speaker of the House, I know him. The minority leader, Democratic leader, I know her. She was one of my mentees and has moved up. You got to have relationships at the state. I learned that. I wouldn't have known that had I just been down here. So those relationships, so that budget comes down to the county, and then the county's got to get the resources to the people. And so in my district, they redrew my lines twice. My original district, then my second district included Norwood and Deer Park. I'd never been on the ballot in Norwood, never been on the ballot in Deer Park. It includes Silverton, had never been on the ballot in Silverton. And they redrew those lines, and I won. Then they said, okay, well, that's not good enough. We got to redraw again. So they redrew the lines again, and they said, we'll get her this time. And they gave me Wyoming and Arlington Heights and Lockland and Lincoln Heights and Woodlawn, and so all those areas. Edgemont, there it is. Gave me all of these different areas, said, we'll get her this time. And we won. Thank you. We won. But the great thing about that is that I have now represented and been on the ballot in county areas. And then growing up, I grew up my entire young, all the way to college on the west side. I grew up on Montana Avenue. But also my parents have had a small business that was both downtown and in Bond Hill in the area for over 28 years. So all of those pieces put together with experience, it makes at this particular time I'm the most experienced person in the race. City experience, county experience, state experience, experience in negotiating big deals, whether it's the expansion of Convention Center, that last deal, I was very involved in that. Whether it's The Martin Luther King Highway Transportation Exit, only new highway exit in the entire state. Whether it's working across the aisle to try to get something done, we did that. Getting the casino piece done and moving. And the list goes on and on. That prepares me for a time like this. Now, politically, Democrats, the county is critical. The last time in the presidential election, Donald Trump did not come to Hamilton County. Y'all remember that? This time he's made, 3 trips almost to our area because he's upset that he didn't get Hamilton County. Hillary Clinton won Hamilton County. And I've been a team player. My goal is getting out the vote. Last time I came to you, I was talking about a voter bill of rights, a constitutional amendment. I spoke at the 50th anniversary of March on Washington. Most people give a speech and go home. I announced that we needed to make Dr. King's voting rights permanent because attacks have been happening on voting rights. And we were the first in Ohio to come back and say, let's get a voter bill of rights. And I wanted it in all 50 states. And this is before Georgia started to get hit, as we saw what happened when they stole the election in Georgia. And now it's happened in North Carolina and Alabama, and it's just been a ripple effect. And we tried to say that we need to make sure that these state constitutions enshrine our voting rights. Now, what happened about that? Many of you in this room, we, on a volunteer basis, they told me we couldn't do it without millions. On a volunteer basis, statewide, we got 1,200 people trained. We got over 100,000 signatures. What did we do with those signatures? We then leveraged that to be putting it in the platform. We're talking about going to the National Convention. Well, the National Convention is about our platform. And so I was on the platform drafting committee. Only 6 or 7 of us. The late, great Elijah Cummings was the chairman. And I had to be there. We had to make sure Bernie's folks got what they wanted, Hillary's folks got what they wanted. So I've been in those kind of negotiations. And we came out with a platform with the voter bill of rights in the Democratic platform. We wrote it, all of us, that helped put this together. Now, what did that mean? It got adopted by all Democrats of all 50 states had to vote on it. It was adopted. So it went now just from our idea to now the Democratic platform. So then Michigan said, listen, it's in the platform. So Michigan took our platform and put it on the ballot. They got the money, everybody said, oh, we can do it. We gave them the blueprint, and it was passed in the last election. It was passed in Michigan because of the work that we did. So I've been blessed to be in national politics. I've been the vice chair of the DNC convention, 2016. I've been the platform drafting committee. I've also been elected precinct executive. I've been a delegate. I've worked hard for Hillary Clinton. We delivered Hamilton County. I've worked hard for President Obama. We delivered. They said my district had to have a high turnout. We increased the turnout. As president of the Black Caucus, we needed to pick up seats. Everybody lost seats. The Democrat state, we lost the county seats. The state representative seats. But I went in with our own money, our own bus tour, and we picked up seats. So not only am I running for office, most people can come say, vote for me and I'll set you free. But I'm about getting the whole ticket, helping them get elected. And one of the best ways I can do that is to be on the ticket myself. Because I know people will come out. I know I've got a base. I know how to get in the barbershops. I know how to get in the beauty shops. I know how to get in the churches. I know how to organize. I started organizing. That was what I did first, helping people get elected. So with my campaign, that's why I have the endorsements that I have. A lot of times endorsements, people say, oh, just stand by me and just be my endorsement. My endorsements are people that I've worked with. David Mann has endorsed me. I was his community outreach director for Congress. That's how far back we go. David Mann has endorsed me. John Cranley, the mayor, has endorsed me, not because before he was mayor, when he was running against Shabbat the first time, I was vice mayor. And one of the first people that stood up and said, John, take on Shabbat. So John Cranley is endorsing me. And these people are not just endorsing me, they're working for me. Mark Mallory has endorsed me because when Mark was trying to take on the Republican, y'all remember the Senate seat? The Republican had it, and we needed to get it back. And they said it couldn't happen, and Mark Mallory stepped up. Well, I was the get out to vote coordinator for Mark Mallory, and we won that race. And the list goes on and on. Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeters out of Lincoln Heights, Councilman out of Laughlin. We've got the Woodlawn mayor. The list goes on of people because of the work that we've done. Now, 2020, we've got to get serious. This is a critical year. This is the Super Bowl of politics. The world is depending on us. And you can't win Ohio. Yes, Cuyahoga got to take care of business, but we got to stand strong in Hamilton County. So it's no time for us to keep fighting each other and beating up each other. We do a great job of beating each other. But I'm trying to beat the other team. And so politically, I gave you kind of the background of what my campaign is going to be about. We're going down and picking people up to get them out to vote. But we can't do that if we're not on the ballot. I'm about the whole ticket win in Hamilton County, because if we all win, that means we can win Ohio and we can knock Trump out of office. You can't do it with just one race or one person. You got to have the whole ticket. And I've got a track record of doing that. The other piece is I'm qualified. We got big deals in Hamilton County. Taxpayers are being screwed. You got to have somebody that knows how to read these kind of deals and knows how to negotiate. And negotiations are tough, but it also takes a special skill set. So if I can go to the state, which is way more difficult, and come out with a brand new, only highway exit in the whole state, I'm sure I'm able and qualified to deal with some of the deals that we're dealing with. We got Millennium Hotel that we're going to have to deal with. Well, I come out of tourism. I understand the hotel business. I understand tourism. I've got a lot of contacts, so I know how to read the fine print and get a good deal. As it relates to the Bengals Stadium, I'm going to tell you straight up, the taxpayers got screwed. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, I'm going to stand up, because why? They're going to renegotiate. So don't let anybody tell you they're not renegotiating. The original deal was to expire in 2026. We now have said we're going to go ahead and do all repairs until 2036 without guaranteeing that the team's going to stay. So if you take away your own negotiating tool, what are you negotiating? And right now, the county outside lawyer is the spokesperson. That can't happen. That can't happen. So I'm telling you, if I'm down there, you got my pledge, and I'm going to have everybody to pledge that any new deal, any renegotiation goes to the taxpayers on the ballot.
Thank you.
The lawyer is saying they don't have to. Somebody's got to go and stand up to that lawyer. You weren't elected. So it has to go back to the voters. And if I'm down there, I'm going to be screaming. Nothing behind the closed doors, behind the curtains, and all those kind of things. No spin on it. You, the taxpayers, will get a chance to vote on it. Because I'm telling you, when you read the fine print on this, we just agreed to pay for more repairs to 2036. When the original deal is supposed to expire in 2026. And we don't even have them saying they're going to agree to stay. And anybody that knows the facility, I mean, my gosh, this thing's going to need more repairs. It's like your home. When you first get it, it's brand new. You got a warranty for 10 years. Maybe 20. Some of you got good deals. But then when the home gets 20 years after that, all of a sudden the hot water heater done went out. And oh my God, the roof is coming. Everything falls apart after the warranty's over. Well, you got to think about that with a stadium. It's getting older, you know, and all these teams want new stadiums, $1 billion. It's $1 billion now for a stadium. $1 billion. So, yes, people ask me what's my position on that. I wanted to make that very, very clear. And this is what I'm hearing from everyone. But when I go down there, I'm reading the deal. I'm going to read the deal. I'm not just turn it over to the lawyers. And we need a new deal. And any new deal must go to the taxpayers. you're gonna have a say on it if I have anything to do with it, if I can get there. And that's one reason they don't want me there. I'm not gonna be a rubber stamp to the Bengals. I love the Bengals, I'm a big fan. But I'm talking about the deal that each of you gotta pay for, I gotta pay for it, and people beyond us are gonna have to pay for it. Kids, grandkids, nieces. So I wanna make sure that that's clear. The other thing is, this whole nonsense about city versus county. I want to clear all that up. I'm going to clear it up. Yes, I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, but it also says Hamilton County. The city is in the county. So all this Cincinnati, the city versus the county is just, I'm a marketer. It's made up nonsense. And anybody running is made up nonsense. We're all Hamilton County. So I'm running on one Hamilton County. But the difference is I can be a bridge because I've been at the city. I know what they think. I've been the vice mayor. But I'm also represented other county, other villages and townships. I've represented Springfield Township. So I understand two sides. And I think we need to have some diversity of thought there. Because it needs to be a bridge. We got two entities controlled by Democrats, and we just playing into the media. Oh my gosh, the Democrats get there, they just can't get along. Oh, the city versus the county. You know, someone even told me, oh, you're from the city, you're less than. I'm not less than. Because I was born inside city limits. We got to cut all that nonsense out. Democrats, we don't have time for it. If your eye is on the prize that this man is destroying our country, this man is dividing our country, then we got to get united. So you won't hear my campaign talk about, oh, I'm from the city and you're from the outside the city, because I've represented both. And I want our county to be number one. Now, maybe this is, you know, I'm very competitive. I play basketball, championship teams, both at Withrow and at my college, Grambling State. And I want to be number one. I want our county to be number one. I don't want all this, our heads are down and we broke and we got no money and oh, poor us. And I don't want that. I want to be number one. I want to be the number one county. I want to have the number one re-entry program in the whole country. I want to have the number one program, Jobs and Family Services, efficient. It's fathers and families together and mothers. I want to have the number one. I want them to say, you know what? They came back with a new deal on this Bengals, and man, other counties need to look at how they did it. I want us to be industry coming in and technology and environmental friendly and solar. I want us to be number one. So I want more focus on being number one and less focus on talking about what we don't have. And the only way we can do that is to be one Hamilton County. So I've given you this is what, if I get in that position, what I'm going to do. But we got to get there. And I've told you politically, Democrats, what we need to do. We can't play around. I've helped a lot of candidates, and I backed off of Congress and said, hey, let's get behind AFTAB and those kind of things. But there's a difference when I'm on the ticket. When I'm on the ticket, it's a difference. And so that's why I feel I'm best to help our party, best to help our ticket, best to help our county. And I'm qualified for the job. I'm ready to do the job. People tell me all the time, are you crazy? Do you really want to do this? You're going to have the Bengals, and they got a whole lot of bad deals, and they've agreed to a whole bunch of stuff, and, you know, they got this going and that going, and they're broke. Do you want to? That's when I operate the best in my life. Anyone who knows me, nobody's ever given me anything. They've always counted me out. They never said I was good enough. Everything I've run for, they said I couldn't do it. Even class president, my first election. There's no way she can do it. She's not the most popular person. I got down to college down south. There's no way you can take on David Duke. He's going to be the next governor. You guys can't stop him. Got to get people together, black and white students, because he was trying to divide us. We registered and we took him out. And he was not the governor. He's still not the governor. We didn't see him anymore until Donald Trump showed up. So we did a pretty good job holding them for a long time. And then at my school, they said, oh, you can never be Miss Grambling State University. You don't even know how to wear heels. I learned how to wear heels. And I said, I'm going to be Miss Grambling. It was an election. And I won down south. You can't go to city council. You have no money. It's your first time. You're too young. I said, we're running. We ran. We kept the health clinics open. They're open to this day. That was my number one issue. So I've had it all the time, what they say we can't do. And that's probably why I'm a Democrat, because they always count us out. But the people always count us in. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I have a primary. It's March 17th. I'd love not to have a primary, so I put all my attention on my opponent. There is a Republican opponent. He's a millionaire out of Indian Hill. And so he's, gets to kind of run free right now. But we have a primary. It's March 17th. And I certainly would like to have your vote and your support. People may ask me about money. I want to throw that out there because I know they said my opponent has all this money that was raised for them to run for governor, not to run against me for county commission. And let me just be clear, I've always raised the amount of money I need to win. I've always raised what I needed to win. And we're going to raise what we need to win. And I don't want us to make the mistake that Hillary Clinton, and I went hard for Hillary. Anybody know me? My goodness, I told Hillary I went harder for you than I did for myself. But even with that, she had millions in the bank still and lost. Millions in the bank and lost. So you get money so you can get to voters. But if you got voters, that's the only reason you needed the money. So we believe that we're out raising money. We are raising money. We do have Ms. Bernadette has an event coming up. It's December 15th. December 15th, and it's a women. We have an organization called Women with Alicia Reese, and they've been with me. And so they're having a holiday hats on for Alicia. My mother loved hats, so we're going to have fun with it. Be a fun event, hats on for Alicia Reese, holiday extravaganza. Men, we have not left you out. If you'd like to sponsor a table and send some incredible women to this event, we would love to have you. We've got some other, you still can give, we had our kickoff that the mayor and the owner of Montgomery Inn, Dean Gregory, had for us. We had a great event, but you still can give to that, and we'll have more events coming right after the holidays in January. So I think at this point, do I open it up for questions? Okay, I'll open it up. Yes, sir. Yes.
I'm hoping that our current sheriff and prosecutor are defeated, but if they're not, what can the county commission do to curtail some of their evil? For example, all the money that Dieter spent on the death penalty and Tracy Hunter, and the sheriff is locking up immigrants and cooperating with ICE and whatever. And the other thing I wonder what you can do too is affordable housing. We're 40,000 units short. I'm wondering if the county commission can do anything about those things.
Yeah. Well, some of it will be a little bit in terms of budget. That's one of the big things for. Now I know certain things are earmarked that go directly to the prosecutor's office, but then there's other things that the biggest thing that county commission does is we set people budgets. They got to come see us. So that would be one area. But I think the bigger piece for us, not to get ahead of ourselves, is that we've got a race, and the voters can make that determination for the prosecutor's office. I mean, the prosecutor is on the ballot. So, and believe me, he's nervous this time. So I think we want to start there first. And, afterwards, then we can kind of talk about that. But county commission, one of the biggest things they do is, they control where the dollars go. The other thing is affordable housing, very important. That's one of the things I do want to look into. How do we have partnerships and work collectively and then look at some innovative ways that we may be able to do some things. For example, I was talking with some of the folks in the building trades who, in some other cities, they actually own projects that they do. You know what I'm saying? So they actually have the land and they do projects. And so one of the things I'd like to see is, are there models out there, or could there be a model that would be a partnership that maybe could create the affordable housing at the same time, could be something that partners with, say, building trades. So those are the kinds of innovative things that I'd like to look at. And also, of course, taking a housing stock of what we already have and what's vacant, what could be redone, are there incentives that we can have, grants, those kind of things to fix these properties up for affordable housing for a certain amount of years, if you will. So I think the one thing is incentives. Look at, are there ways that we can work with some of our partners at the state? Maybe they want to create some type of incentive, but also looking at, hey, there's other projects around the country that building trades actually own. They're doing their own development. How can we partner? Maybe there's something creative that we could do. We've got to be more creative.
Who else?
I'm thinking about Columbus and Franklin County. I'm thinking about Indianapolis and Monroe County. And then I think about Cincinnati and Hamilton County. We have so many governments within the boundaries of Hamilton County that I don't think you could keep track of them on a spreadsheet. The success, I think, of Franklin County and Monroe County is metropolitan government. Is there any chance in your mind that it could ever happen here?
I think that's going to be tough because I learned this, when I was on city council, because one of the things that the city of Columbus is they go in and they're getting properties and those kind of things. I don't know if we're ready for that per se, but I do think there's still more opportunities for collaboration, cooperation, shared services that everybody can buy into because it's a tough time. But I don't know if we're ready to make that particular move at this particular time.
Well, you eat an elephant one bite at a time, so you've got to start someplace. And the redundancy and money wasted by all these governments is just ridiculous. It all started when Cincinnati allowed people around the city to have city water without coming into the city. That's how it all got started.
Go off the water.
Is the Brent Spence Bridge and the Western Hills Viaduct part of the Hamilton County Commission jurisdiction or whatever?
The Western Hills Viaduct is, that's why, there will probably be a levy, and there's a proposed levy. The first half was passed on the bus levy. The second half has to pass, and that's the money part. And that's one of the reasons that I'm supporting that, because we're supporting it going to the citizens, for you all to decide. But it would provide money to help with the Western Hills Viaduct. Would really, we have to do something about that. When I was on the Transportation Committee, the Brent Spence Bridge, those were big issues because it's chipping and some things are falling. It's getting very dangerous. And so that is one reason, among other reasons, that I do support the second half of this bus tax. And of course, you will have the final say because it includes fixing that up. Now, the Brent Spence Bridge, I think will be involved, but it's still kind of at the state level. So you have state, city, and county, where all three will be involved. We had a potential close to a deal, but then on the Kentucky side, it didn't happen. So, but those negotiations are going to have to be from governor to governor. And then, of course, once that happens, it kind of trickles down to our level.
Would a toll bridge work?
I think that there was compromise that if there has to be some tolling, there was compromise that, you know, the Ohio side was willing to discuss that. The Kentucky side was not at all. So I think that's where things kind of broke down. But, you know, remember, like you saw across the country, different bridges that were collapsing and so forth. So at first everybody was like, this is important. But then when it doesn't make the news cycle for a while, then people say, okay, well, let's just keep riding on the bridge and don't think more about it. But I think that was, that's the stalling point, is the tolling piece. And on the Kentucky side, it was kind of like, it's a no-go. But I don't know, they got a new governor. I don't know if, you know, and I don't know, we got a new governor, they got a new governor, so I don't know what that relationship is going to do. But that also is a federal issue. So anybody that's running, you know, Congress, we got people right now in Congress that, you know, and in the United States Senate, hello, what are you gonna do? And that bridge is so important for, I mean, it has not only for pedestrians, but we're talking commerce. It's a lot of money that's going back and forth across that bridge. So, you know, this is a good issue federally, because they will be the ones that kind of lead this issue. But if you don't see it in the news cycle, then people kind of say, oh, well, you know, at one time it was bridge every day. Now it's like, oh, it doesn't make news anymore because there's so many issues, hot issues. But that is a very, very important issue and a huge deal if a deal can get done. But it'll be at the federal and the state level.
I'd like to ask you, I'm not extremely knowledgeable about many of the things you're telling us about your life and work in Ohio. I just want to ask some simple questions. Why are we so poor? Does business, you've been close to business and a marketer, do they want us to be so poor? At least a third of the people in this city are living, I believe that is right, under the poverty line. 28,000 people in the city and far more in the whole county do not have a place to live that they can afford. What is happening to us? What does business have to do with it? Do they want us to be this poor?
You asking the same question I'm asking. That is an excellent question. And I think for me, the reason I'm running, because I'm only one generation away from the projects. My grandmother lived in Lincoln Courts and only had a 7th grade education, did days work, and she scrubbed people's toilets because she wanted a better life for my mother and for me. And I hate she never got a chance to see me go to college and those kind of things. But it's so important that when we're running for these offices, people used to ask me, why do you come home every day from Columbus? Mostly every day I would drive back and forth. And when I got ready to leave, I gave my farewell speech and I said, people would tell me, oh, you're always going home. Why do you do that? I said, because I don't want to be too far away from the pain of the people that I serve. You're absolutely right. And it's not just people that are homeless, because that's very big. We got too many people that are homeless, too many people in poverty. We got too many people, when they talk about the middle class, what is that? It's a different thing from different people. You know, people that are just one hospital bill from losing everything, one college debt from never getting out of the box to make it. You know, they're talking about a whole race of people that will have a wealth of zero in just a couple years from now. So how do you put money back into the economy? It's the narrative. It's reading the deals that come forward. It's making sure those deals aren't screwing the everyday person. I mean, I'm telling you, I understand. Before they had the Affordable Care Act, my mother was before that time. She got diagnosed with MS. They canceled insurance. And both my parents were business, small business, put all their savings to everything they had, trying to make it, get 3 kids out and take care of 3 kids and go to college, never wanted nobody to give them anything. And I had to look and watch my mother deteriorate because she couldn't really get the care she supposed to really had because she would be sometimes scared to go to the doctor. I can't afford it. The reason she got breast cancer, she found the lump, but didn't want to go because she said, I can't afford it. I can't afford another pill. So by the time she went, it was stage 4. So when I get into these positions, that's what I bring to the table. When I get up on the floor, I'm in Columbus, I was outnumbered a lot of times. But if nothing else, I got to get up and give that message of what you just said because I'm representing you. And who's going to stand up to these folks? They're not going to stand up to them. And some of our own Democrats, because I'm a Democrat, our own Democrats get there and get comfortable. Our own Democrats get there and get scared. Because people want to be popular. They don't want nobody attacking them. I remember when I stood up one time and they gave $0 to this school called Central State. 0. And these students had come and they testified and did everything at 0. And I had to get up. And they told me, Alicia, you will not be popular. They won't like you anymore. The Speaker of the House will not like you anymore. And some of my own Democrats were scared to get up and then afterwards wouldn't want to be seen with me. But I said, you know what? I didn't come here to be popular. I came here to represent the people that sent me. That's the only reason. So back to what you're saying, that's one reason I'm running for county commission. I'm looking around and I'm like, wait a minute, we're giving away deals and then jump up and holler we're against welfare. But you're giving the businesses all these big deals.
Corporate welfare, absolutely.
And then you have us, some of us, politicians, we'll get up and say, we're not for no corporate welfare, but then say, oh, that was a good deal. You got to listen. That ain't a good deal. It was not a good deal for the Bengals that's supposed to expire to go another 10 years without them giving us anything. It is not a good deal to give them $30 million, move Hilltop that didn't want to be moved, and give them $30 million so they can have a practice stadium. And then jump up and say we're broke. It's not a good deal. It's not a good deal to give that lawyer down there that's representing the county, that's giving everything away to the Bengals, and he's getting almost $20 million. And then said, well, I got to give good representation.
But now it's a winning team.
Yeah.
We did get one win for it, so I appreciate that win. But my point to it, and I'm not anti-Bengals, I'm talking about getting a better deal for the people. Affordable housing, like you said. Better deal. A deal is sitting at the table, we got to get give and take. But what you're just saying, that's what everybody on my street, mostly my neighbors on right or left of me, they're all retired, work their butts off. And my neighbor, he comes out, he says, you know what, nobody cares about me. I work my butt off and I can't afford it. I got to get a part-time job. And every day he's got something wrong with his house because, the warranty's out and house is older now. He says, you know what, how am I going to afford it? One day I came home, it was the hottest day in Cincinnati. No air. No air. And this man is a senior citizen, he was sitting outside. I said, what's going on here? He said, I got to sit outside because I don't know where I'm going to get the money to get some air. This is a man that works every day and retired. People talk about MSD. We're talking about retirements that will be impacted by MSD. It's not a city versus county, it's people retirements. So yeah, I get passionate about this point, but what you said, what do they want from me? What do they want? Do they want us not to have nothing and we keep paying for it? And I'm here to tell you that if I get a shot to get down there, sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Sometimes they might have to carry me out. But every day I get there, that's what I'm going to be thinking. Because that's why I want to go back to you got the power. But if they never have to come to you, you don't have no power. So anyway, that's what we're trying to do. But thank you for that question. I hope that's not the case, that they don't want you to have anything. But I think that your voice needs to be heard.
I'm wondering, what do you think about minimum wage? Because I got something from Wenstrup, one of his letters, that if we raise the minimum wage, employers will go out of business. And therefore, people will lose their jobs.
Well, I think the issue of minimum wage, what was just said there is not accurate. Because as you can see, companies are raising minimum wage. So that means that the people were right all along. So that is a contradiction to what companies, now some that are doing it right, not everybody's doing it right, but what I'm saying is, even that some are doing it right on their own tells me that it can, it should, and it will have to happen.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, $12 an hour, $13 an hour is raising it from $7.25. My feeling is, even $15 an hour is not a living wage for a person or people with families.
Right.
And it's not even a living wage to get a decent apartment.
No, you're absolutely right. And one of the things that when I was on council, way back before living wage was even a popular term, we were fighting to get a living wage. And I've always been a supporter of living wage. And in the county, of course, we only control our employees, etc. And I will continue to support that. But I also think that it also, what you said, the narrative cannot be just on minimums. We're not going to minimum our way out of poverty. So we got to get new terminology. Yes, we want to have a floor, which is, minimum or living, but we got to aspire beyond that and understand that that's not everything. And I've tried to explain that to people. Sometimes it's tough for them. But let me say that I support living wage and have supported it and will, continue to do so. Okay, she's coming up, so it's my time. Thank you all very much. I hope to see you at some of the events, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you so much. It's going on from my District 33, where Edgemont was a real important thing for her. Thank you. Next week, let me go down. House Bill 6, and Howard Wilkinson. Want to tell us about Howard Wilkinson?
This is the whole issue about corporate bailouts of the power companies.
That's what House Bill 6 is. He's going to give us the down and dirty about what's going on about that and what needs to be done in the future to deal with this fracking, to the fossil fuels and all the kind of investment that's going on in Ohio. So he will be taking us through that.
I will really be looking forward to that because I do not want to have my tax dollars go to bail out nuclear power plants. It's not a big thing for me. Well, it may not be for you. So let's come in next week and hear from Howard Wilkinson.
I'd like to remind you all that the baskets are out. This pays our rent. We pay $50 a week to First Unitarian so that we can use their facilities. So please make sure that you contribute. $2 a person is a suggested contribution. Thank you.
And sign up for lunch if you have not done that. We want to send you out to another good week. And remember, we're having House Bill 6 next week, and the week after that we're doing unwrapped Christmas gifts for the refugees and singing. The Queen City Balladeers will be here in 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to that. Those guys are wonderful. If you have not heard them, they are great. It's a great time to come and have a wonderful hour.
There might be a little bit of sing-along, but they're going to be mostly entertaining us.
Entertaining, but some sing-along. The sing-along was really good for me. We need words. I'll see what I can do for you. Come on back. You're a great group. Thank you.